Hey, how's it going? Wanted to do an update on our floor. So we're getting down to the finishing part. Literally, that was kind of a pun. So what I'm doing right now is this floor's all been sanded down, and that's kind of what the finished product looked like. Basically, sanding it down right now. Let me show you what this looks like here. I'll bring a flashlight with me to show you a little better. So what I do is after I've given it an initial sand and gotten everything pretty smooth, I hit it up with this stuff, which is Woodwise Wood Patch. And it comes in the specific type of wood that you're using. In this case, I'm using white oak. So I got the white oak one. And I use that to fill in any little areas that have any gaps. So let me see if I can show you a spot here. So I don't know if you can see that, especially if I get out of light. So you can see there's a little tiny gap along that seam with this tread. And you come in there and you fill it in. Here's a nail hole. And when you sand it, I'll show you what it looks like once it's, well, that's sanded. This is unsanded. You kind of want to mound it up so you have plenty of the material because you really don't want any voids. So I'll come in, I'll sand it with my Rotex sander. I have been sanding in like the full aggressive mode, and then at the end I'll switch over to here, and that gets rid of any little swirl marks that's in the aggressive. Again, I'm still using a P100, and I am using this little hand RTS 400 to get into like little corners like that. So yeah, so I've sanded this entire floor just with this little hand sander. It takes a lot longer than it would if you rented a sander. This took, I don't know, the initial sand for this whole area took about 2 days. And then it's probably about half a day to come back and fill these gaps in and then do a final sand. But it looks really good. I mean, you can see here this grate. These are nail holes because obviously the last piece of wood I can't screw in from the side. But they'll be trimmed there. You won't even see it. Yeah, it looks pretty good. So you got a really nice finish right there. I'll take the grates out when I do the staining because I don't want to stain the grates into the ground. But yeah, so there's that transition that I was working on earlier with all the slats, and now you can't even tell. Just looks like one solid piece. And then, you know, obviously anybody who's watched the video on leveling the floor, you know, there's a lot going on underneath this floor. So I'll finish this up. Again, shout out to Festool for their vacuum system. There's basically no dust. I mean, you can see, like for example, this stove's been here the whole time, and it's pretty much clean. There's almost no dust in the air when you do this. Not any more than just the regular dust you're gonna have from people living in the house. So I'll sand this whole thing down, vacuum it down really well. I use like a bristle brush on my little Miele vacuum, and I just vacuum the heck out of it. And then it'll be time to roll on some stain. So what I'm using is this stuff, which is Poloplaz Supreme Finish. These are our quart bags. They're a lot easier to work with. I'll end up needing 3 quarts. And I personally like the satin. I think matte's too flat and the glosses are too shiny. So satin's, you know, right in the middle. Get my little roller can here. I actually have 3 trays because this stuff, pretty much when you use it, you're not going to clean anything other than the roller. You're just going to throw everything away because it's pretty impossible to clean. And then I've got a little brush to do my my grates. So what I'll end up doing, so I got plenty of that stuff in there. I'll end up taking these 2 grates out, and I'll leave them out, and then I'll roll everything and do the grates separately, and then bring the grates back in. Sometimes you got to sand the edge to get them to go in there because they're pretty tight fit. But the face, you can leave it looking nice. So probably the trickiest bit I have here now is I have to finish the floor up to an existing finished floor. I've never done that before. It's gonna be a little learning process. I think all I'm gonna do is I'm gonna start on this end, and and work my way across the room to that end. And I'm just going to do a really nice job along here, down hands and knees, just getting it right up against the other finish, but not coming over too much. And then I think if I can get it close, I'm going to come on later on with the like a screen, and I think I can kind of feather it and blend it a lot better. But yeah, so my first video on blending 2 uneven floors, that's the spot that I filmed it, and it's pretty much level and even now. You can see the old post beam right there coming out of the ground. Yeah, so it ends up looking, it'll look like this basically. Let me see if I can find a spot where I have some filler, just to sort of show you what the filler looks like. It's kind of hard to spot, but I'm sure there's some filler. Yeah, so there's a little bit of filler. You can see it right on the edge. You can't see it when you're, more than a couple inches away because it just blends perfectly with the white oak. So those 2 grates will end up getting finished out of the hole. I'll finish everything and then I'll put the grates in. And like I said, occasionally you got to go in there and sand it to just get them to fit back in. So yeah, if you wonder if you can finish a floor with a hand sander, you can. That hand sander you can, at least. Like I said, I kind of roughed it in with the first pass with the Rotex to smooth everything out. Then I came in with that wood filler, used the Rotex, and then switched over to the smoother, less violent oscillating motion, all with 100 garnet 100 grit. And then that's where I'm at right now, and a 100 I think is enough. I wouldn't go any smoother than that. Originally I tried like a 180, but it was so smooth that it was like an ice skating rink, so I wouldn't go that smooth. And then obviously this plastic is just so that people can go back and through this little area and get to the fridge, but that'll all be gone when we do the final floor. Got some plastic sheeting, we'll drop that, try to keep any dog hairs and everything else out of the space. And I'll show you what it looks like after we finish that up. All right, hope this helps someone.